onye ruru kita n'ọgbara nke ndị gọvanọ bụ Honorable Jonathan CHIJIOKE EDEOGA of the Labour Party.
Ote Jesu. Because I don't know. I come a protocol let me establish and come to my own greetings and appreciation to the Catholic Church for creating this wonderful platform. My name is CHIJIOKE EDEOGA. I'm Ehamufu in IsiUzo local government. I'm the governorship candidate for Labour Party. Jeremiah Okwo na ebe anyị Ehamufu na Dada Kango Secondary School finished in 1981 wee banye UNN 1982 go English. But what's important for me to stress that my mom can be in Nsukka up till now. My father is late and he lived most of his life in Nsukka in service of a community and God through various channels. My childhood, they marked by scrupulous adherence to the Christian faith. Our morning started with prayer, almost a full mass. They reading the Bible, interpreting it, and making songs. Ehamufu from those days, my father, Nondo, has guided me all through my lives. It's only every single day of my life, I realized that what my father did was to wrap up quotations from the Bible, reduce Oye into passages that are easy to administer. And it has guided me. They have become lamps unto my feet, even up till now. So Jeremiah Okwo na UNN, go English, happened in 1982, served on the River State. Can finish River State in the Kano State government then. Biame I employ the Rivers. Same interview na Imo. Then I ndogoro English, ndogoro mathematics and the sciences. So I was employed. I was posted to Jigawa on contract as a contract teacher. I served there for 2 years. Then at the end of the contract, they wanted to renew it. I didn't want to renew it. I just wanted to go to the north, to Kano then, to have a sense of what life was in the north. But I thought that the knowledge of what happens there is important in my further development as a Nigerian. So I came home and worked in the Daily Star. All came on the Daily Star. All came on the Daily Star. Came to Aurora as a writer. Boge Joe Modo campaign for governor. The situations that exist now were also the situations that existed at that point in time. Joe Modo was running against Haidonaglichi, and the preponderance of opinion in Enugu State that time, especially of the political establishment, was that Hyde was going to win, and Joe Modo was just an upstart. I didn't think that it was right to see Joe Modo in that light. I knew where he came from, or where he comes from, and I knew what he represented. So I aligned myself to his aspiration and worked assiduously to make sure that he went to government house. I'm happy that as I was speaking, my friend Ugabola came here. Ugabola came with my friend, the APC governorship candidate, and I was one of the persons who convinced Ugabola to work with Joe Modo. True or false? So I aligned to that aspiration. You counter it, you can counterfeit it now with what exists at this point in time, where considerations of who to support or not to support are not undergirded by cultural affinities or even ideological sensibilities. But in Joe Modo time, we didn't follow money. We knew what we were following. And that is part of what has brought us to this place. So even within the government house, the fears against Okwesili was hot. It was the fight against him by a certain political establishment that thought it has the preserve to produce who will be, was fierce. And I can say without fear of being contradicted that I learned my intellectual resources, editorial-wise, to make sure that the Ekwueme government was stabilized. And for 19 months after, when that government collapsed, I had to go to Lagos. Because if you are practicing journalism in Enugu, I was in Daily Star, I was in New Outlook. If you are practicing journalism in Enugu in those days, if you are not going to Lagos, they look at you as inferior. So like my friend Onyeke has said, we had a chance, some of us had a chance to be employed by the incoming ministry administration on arrangement that Ekwueme would midwife. But I chose to go to Lagos to continue my journalism. I was in the Champion, and from there I went to Post Express. From Post Express, I came home in 1997 to run for the chairmanship of IsiUzo, an election that was midwifed by the army. An election that was midwifed by the army and not imposed or handpicked. I ran against other 5 candidates. In that 3 months of showing up myself, based on my name recognition and on the good name my father has built over time in the service of my people, I won and stayed only 14 months in government because Abacha's death truncated that government. In 14 months, I had built a road from Ikem to Mbunowa, through Handiago. On the basis of that road, Abangu invested me with Onwa Iharamona. In 14 months, I had started and completed virtually the wiring of light in my community in Mbuji. Mbuji is the biggest community in the Ehamufu. By that time, there was no light. Light stopped only in camp. I went to REB, and got light connected. In 14 months, I had established a full-fledged daily market in the Ehamufu. Before I became chairman, there was no daily market in the Ehamufu. You had a keha that happened only in 4 days, and the Ehamufu would go down. In 14 months, I had opened up the road from Kalago Express to Federal College of Education. Before then, that road was virtually dead, and social life in the Ehamufu was dead. The provost of that school, Lieutenant Dozie, wrote me a letter, which I have now. He said, "In all my life, I have never seen somebody like you who says he will do something and he will do it." The college is happy with you. The management is happy with you. The staff is happy with you. The students are happy with you. He gave me a personal check for 100,000 naira to support what I was doing. 14 months, the government collapsed, and I ran for election under PDP again, was rejected, was removed by the same conspiracies against me now. I went to AD and fought PDP and fought my way back, defeated the PDP through AD. Ugabola was a witness. And I renegotiated my back to PDP. I went to House of Reps for only 1 term again. 1999 to 2003, I was in the House of Reps. I was the spokesman for National Assembly. I was also the chairman of the House Committee on Information. I established the office of the spokesman for National Assembly. Before me, there was nothing like that. After me, every other person wants to be spokesman for National Assembly. In the course of my work as House Committee Chair on Information, I negotiated the employment of tens and tens of people in various parastatals of the information. Information hires the highest number of parastatals. And in all of them, I injected many persons. I don't want to mention names. I think it's immodest and unconscious, insensitive to their own feelings. But I'm telling you, on my honor, that I employed many persons, FRCN, NTA, ONWE, all the parastatals of a free information. I also was the person who brought DSTV to Enugu. DSTV was going to put their office in Port Harcourt. DSTV is multi-choice. I insisted that Enugu should be the opening headquarters, and also initiated the initial staffs. Most of the initial staff of DSTV Enugu were people I nominated. Josiah Ome and Nena Izugu, formerly Obai. So I did only 1 term, brought my consistency project is Umero. If you know IsiUzo, Umero is in the middle of nowhere. Without my personal intervention as a consistency project, Umero wouldn't have had light. I started it and completed it in 4 years. In 4 years, I also personally made sure that somebody from Enugu State, Igwe, this is current Odozibo, became the pro-chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture in Benue State. I facilitated it. So 4 years I was done. And I was ironed out, partly because of my fight against Obasanjo's dictatorship, and partly about dynamics of Enugu State policies again. Because Chimaroke was moving around saying that I'm from Nsukka area and I should not occupy the House of Reps position for Enugu's area. So I came out. I didn't want to stay back in Nigeria because Nigeria was hostile. When the church was fighting Chimaroke in 2003, I was part of that fight. We waged that fight, and it was the collateral damage on me was immense. Family businesses were destroyed. Uncle was killed. Businesses burnt. Vehicles burnt. So I left Nigeria because Abuja was hot for me. Obasanjo, I fought him. I was fighting Chimaroke. There was no place to stay. So I left Nigeria, went to University of Buckingham, read law. I initiated the process that led eventually to a master's degree in public international law from University of London. So I have a degree from Buckingham, a master's from University of London, came back, went to law school, enrolled with Awomolo SAN and Co. Shortly after, I was also appointed by Goodluck Jonathan, where I served. Shortly after my engagement, my principal, Joe Emwadi, was removed. So most of that 4 years, I was the person in charge of all presidential appointments of all the ministers, all parastatals heads that had to go to the National Assembly. And when I was done, Jonathan wrote me a personal letter of commendation in my service, because not one single nominee of his, not one single was rejected. He needed somebody to interface with the Senate and make sure that everything went well. Ministers, parastatal heads in their hundreds passed through me. And not one day did I go to any of them to ask for any favor. NDDC, NMPC, ministers of this and that. I didn't go to ask for any contract from any of them. But that did not stop me from also injecting substantial number of persons into different federal parastatals. I also did that as a special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters. When Jonathan's government ended, I came home to serve the IsiUzo government for 7 years. The same ethical foundations which I alluded to underscored my services. And I can say authoritatively, without being contradicted, that in the 4 years that I was in government of IsiUzo as governor, who is also very close to me, I never asked for a kobo. I never pleaded, I never begged, I never cajoled that any benefits should be conferred onto me. And I also have gone on record to show that there is no single evidence that I am misapplied or misused or even sought for any fund from that government. So you can say without fear of contradiction that I'm incorruptible. I'm beyond corruption, beyond the temptations that public servants allude to. I resigned and ran for governorship in PDP. I was the clear preference of Enugu State people. But the heavy hand of interest came, and I was edged out. I went to Labour Party. I'm running now under the Labour Party, where God has chosen that I should be at this point in time. When I become governor, the paths to what should be done are very clear. I have gone to virtually all the wards in Enugu State, even in the course of this governorship campaign, substantially under Labour Party. Beginning from Inyi, Tigogoro, because it's not just to come and say superstructure, this is what I'm going to do. No. What you are saying superstructurally may not be what they want on the ground. I have been on the ground in the entire Enugu North Senatorial zone, and I know what needs to be done in everywhere. I've gone to Inyi, I've gone to Agibeji, I've gone to Gogoro, I've gone to Uzuwani, and the issues are different. Some security, women complain of security. Some roads, some healthcare. There are different things. Can you imagine that Okpata, since 1980, has cables, has poles, but there's no light on Okpata? Then you know that Ekwueme in Igbo Titi has never seen light in all their lives. No single pole of light. Do you know that places in them here, they don't have light? These things they have told me. So my knowledge is important. We know that the problems exist. The issue is how do you begin to tackle them? You will tackle them based on money is available, based on the prudence that I will bring into government. Transparency I'll bring into government. And prioritization based on needs and challenges. So I don't want to go beyond my time. I'm here for question and answer. Thank you.
Honorable Edoga for his presentation. For the Labour Party man, is your motivation to lead our state through the platform of Labour Party motivated by desire to serve, based on track records, or just propelled by the organic love and popularity of Mr. P2B and by extension, the obedient movement? Number B, the question is for your party. Yes, your party has consistently maintained that the people of Nigeria is your structure, and that any other structure is a structure of corruption. Has it occurred to your party that election monitoring and supervision on election day are key for a proper party representation? How is your party going to provide agents to monitor all the 176,846 polling units in Nigeria if they lack the proper party structure required for this job? Barrister, take over.
It's totally just so. The next question is going to CHIJIOKE EDEOGA. How is he going to handle the issue of pensioners who were paid last in May 2021? The next question is going to CHIJIOKE EDEOGA, and it says, what will you do to offset the backlog of local government primary school pensioners who are being suffocated by this present administration? The next question is going to CHIJIOKE EDEOGA, and it says, it's been alleged that you have an inextricable link with Nsukka cultural zone, and that your aspiration to the governorship of Enugu State will give Enugu North Senatorial District 16 straight years of occupation as in the Lion building. How do you respond to this? Is this fair? Question for CHIJIOKE EDEOGA. The next question is going to EDEOGA, and it says, what new agenda will you bring up as an offshoot and a member of Buruburu's wasted years?
From Enugu North, Enugu State. The question I have is for the governorship candidate of Labour Party. And the question I wrote before which I handed over, I asked the Labour Party and the APGA candidate.
One person.
So, the question I'm asking is, our candidate, the candidate of Labour Party, is an offshoot of PDP that have ruled at the federal level. And he has occupied positions at federal and state level. And we have been complaining from this client that the federal government are not taking care of us, especially most of us from the eastern extraction. Is it not right time now for us to align with the federal government? Just as Lagos have been in opposition party, but they are now aligned to federal government. Is it not time for us, the people of Nsukka, now align with the ruling party, the federal government, so that we can have our cake at the kitchen and have a cake at the national level? This is my question.
Because question to the candidate of Labour Party, CHIJIOKE EDEOGA. Number one, Ogemu Nsukka Ehamufu during the time of war. To know how we can help them win their opponent. So when Barozi came to Ehamufu, I shed tears. Njuma said, why Yaringa as no federal road. Mba from Opi to Bode. That trap, Bashum to Zuma and one I want bubble. Yajulo as no woman, as no federal road. Mar from Opi to Bolo. Mar from Opi to Betty. So Obode. Nganaju, a top federal road, open the governor, Enugu State. Many federal Arabia Yaka, Ehamufu Kumune Mushira and Bobo. Yab number one. Number two question, Muaneba, no matter Moyama, but I'm a powerful philanthropist. I have invested millions of naira in giving water to schools, government schools. But I find out in Eba Bumbu Bay in Jawko, Ungwe Maramaka, Township 1 and 2 Eba, Ungwe Marahine may exist. Manamua today, being a by him steady. Mugoye, many other places. So, ngana say, open the governor Enugu State. In any plan of giving water to those less privileged? Big man.
My name is Ejiofor Nwachukwu Agada. My question is one, and it is only for the governorship candidate of Labour Party. Sir, based on your records, you've been a two-time commissioner in the PDP government, especially in the government of Governor Ekwueme. My question is this. In the Ministry of Environment, which you headed, the only memorial we have of it, the only physical evidence we have of it is huge refuse dumps in Enugu State and putting fire to refuse in Enugu State. I want to know, in your time as Commissioner for Environment, what ideas did you ever bring in issues of managing refuse in Enugu State? And even if they were not attended to by the governor, can you tell us specifically those ideas and how you intend to convince us that you have ideas to lead Enugu State? Thank you.
Oh, so. The first question is this. See whether my motivation is propelled by a track record of service or because of P2B. Of course, my motivation is to serve. And I've been in public service long before P2B made its public entrance. I've been in public service, I've run elections, and I've done well, if I say so, long before he became a prominent figure. By 1997, I had won election as chairman. Before then, I had aligned my intellect and my abilities to the realization of the governorship election of Dr. John Wodo. It didn't happen, but his brother became governor. That exercise happened substantially because I was part of it. How is your party going to provide agents when the LP lacks structure? LP does not lack structure. LP has structures everywhere in Nigeria. We are going to leverage on those structures and in the ongoing goodwill of most Nigerians to win power at the federal level. Pension, the issue of pensioners, who were paid last. The issue of pensioners is a very intractable issue and very painful. We are going to begin by prudence. I have said it openly, and I am not withdrawing it, that there's a substantial misapplication and misuse of local government funds. If local governments are properly used and utilized, I'm sure the pension issues will be addressed. A link with Nsukka zone, how do I respond to the link? I'm not going to deny my link with Nsukka zone. I'm proud of it. My mother is from that zone. My grandmother is from that zone. My wife is from that zone. My mother-in-law is from that zone. It's a big advantage. It's a big and huge electoral advantage. But I'm naturally attuned to fairness and justice and equity. And I'm going to give fairness and justice and equity to all parts of Enugu State with regards to available resources. Align with the ruling party. Which one is the ruling party now? He said that I should align with the ruling party. We are in a transition. We are in a time of transition. Elections will be determined in a few weeks' time or in a month's time. So there is nothing like a ruling party now. Actually. The people will be the ruler. So there's nothing like a ruling party now. Of course, we are certain that LP, if you listen to the analysis yesterday on national television, LP is poised to win. LP. Will I forsake federal roads? Will I forsake federal roads just because they are federal roads? No way. I'm going to do the federal roads, first of all. Because Because before they became federal roads, they were Enugu State roads. So I was going to do them. Water plans for the state. My water plan for the state has been elaborated upon substantially. We are going to decentralize water supply. We are going to decentralize water supply. We are going to take water from the various areas where water is available and reticulate to communities that are proximate to those water supplies. Huge refuse dumps. The huge refuse dumps are still there almost 1 year after I left office. The huge refuse dumps, the burning of dumps are still there, ongoing and expanding, almost 1 year after I left office. So the effort to attach them to CHIJIOKE EDEOGA has failed. Of course, I made elaborate issue. In the Ministry of Environment, waste disposal is the function of ESWAMA. It has nothing to do with the condition of environment. But as a public-spirited person, I also have my specialty in public international law is a law of environment. I'm a master specialist on what to do regards to environment. When the time comes, I'm going to expand on them. Thank you.